This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 49, verse 10. But I have made Esau bare. I have uncovered his secret places, and he shall not be able to hide himself. His seed is spoiled, and his brethren, and his neighbors, and he is not. Shalom, shalom. Before I begin this lesson, all praise, honor, and the glory goes to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles, bishop, and elders, a great millstone that rule well, and peace and blessing be multiplied on all you brethren that's teaching this word in all sincerity and in truth. Shalom to the elect, the 144,000, and the rest of the elect out there, shalom. I'm the brother Dama Gabar here with another lesson, Lord willing to edify through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Yahweh Shai. And my, oh my, is not Esau being made bare. It's not this man completely exposed, and it's no putting the cat back in the bag, man. And what you're seeing around the world, especially in these last days, is the man of sin being completely and totally revealed. And a lot of people are having the blinders taken off of their eyes, so to speak, to really see Esau Edom, the so-called white man, for who he truly is, man, which is a scoundrel. He's a beast. He's a bloodthirsty psychopath. And right now, America, Trump, his administration, and the so-called tiny tops, the 1948ers are on full display, of their wickedness and their griminess, and just, the Lord is putting the spirit for people to see just how much of scumbags these people really are. That they're the wicked that the Bible speaks of. They're the son of perdition. They're bloodthirsty, psychopaths, man. All right. They're very childish. They're very warlike and very, demonic people, man. And now they're on center stage and the world is seeing it. Finally, after all the videos that we've been doing, starting with the elders and the apostles exposing this man for being the man of sin, for being the one that's taking peace from the earth, being the guy that's, constantly at war, and the whole problem of the whole earth is finally being exposed to the world. And it's the damn devil, Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. And, as we get closer into the end, it's just being made manifest more and more. And the Lord has this devil on Front Street. The Lord has this devil totally exposed. And he can't cover it up. He can't hide it anymore. His propaganda, his media, his whole anti-SIM card, his whole playing the victim is not working anymore because people are seeing through the fact that he is not the victim. He's the aggressor, and that everything that he does, man, is just completely wrapped in wickedness and deception and straight bullshit. Hey, and it's a beautiful time. So I want to play some of this, right? From Kim Iverson. It says, "It's official. The world has turned on Israel." You see? Because people are really seeing just how demonic and evil these people are, and people are realizing that they're not victims. All right. They're the villains, that they're at the forefront of everything that's wrong in this planet Earth, from the financial sectors to the military, through politics, through world policy. People are now seeing that you got these tiny tops are the ones that's sitting at the head of all of these things. They're the real movers and shakers and the real, policymakers around the earth. And a lot of the wickedness that they're doing is perpetrated by these people, and now people are turning on them because people are ultimately seeing the fact that everything that's wrong with the world starts with these people right here. So I'm going to play some of this video. Got a couple of precepts, but, just listen to the sentiment of all these people, all these different nations around the world who are basically coming to the conclusion that it's these people who are the problem, man. And people are not swallowing their bullshit anymore. They're not believing the propaganda anymore. People are realizing that these people are not the victims, but that they're the villains of the earth. So let's check some of this video out.
World leaders are beginning to completely turn on Israel, from Poland to Turkey to South Korea, Japan. I mean, even Asian nations are jumping in on this, to European nations, Spain, Italy, Germany even, which is...
See, and these are a lot of, these countries are allies to whether it's America or NATO or the EU, and remember, it starts with these tiny tops, man. Like I said, it starts with them. and then then it trickles down to America, to the West, and to everything else in this world. They're the fucking problem, man, and people are starting to realize it because ultimately, it's about time for this man to be judged and destroyed and rooted out of the earth.
Is something else, because Germany usually just gives Israel a complete pass for anything and everything, feeling like it cannot criticize, should not criticize. Oh, but they're starting to criticize.
Right. That's what I was saying earlier. That's why, that whole playing the victim and that whole anti-sim card that they play whenever they're called out, whenever they're exposed, whenever they're, called out for their bullshit, they're able to drop that, oh, you're an anti-blame, you're an anti-blame. And immediately the criticism stops. They were able to use that to silence people, to, play the victim, to get the heat off of them. But now that shit's not working anymore. People are realizing that, even that tactic doesn't work. And ultimately, these people are just a problem, man. See?
Let's start off with Poland. A Polish MP displayed the Israeli flag, but the Israeli flag looks a little bit different. Watch this.
Poles are already feeling Israel's attacks in the Middle East through fuel prices, but how do children feel it when dozens of times more have died than in the entire war in Ukraine? It's because the Jews are using a forbidden phosphorus bomb which depletes oxygen from the air and leads to their death by suffocation. More, the smoke from this bomb gets into the lungs and burns them from within. They suffocate and burn from the inside at the same time. Tens of thousands of women and children. But if some child is lucky and doesn't suffocate, white phosphorus will stick to their cheek, to their hand, and burns through the tissues right down to the bone. It cannot be extinguished, so the cheek must be cut off, the hand amputated. Israel is committing, right before our very eyes, a genocide of truth.
Right, you see? People are calling this shit out. That these people are demonic, man. All right? They try to use we're the chosen people, we're special. No. People are realizing that you're a bunch of damn demons, man. Right? And that whole, you're able to turn yourself into an angel of light and be able to play the victim and act like, oh, we're so hated by the world and everybody just doesn't like us because we're the chosen people, we're victims. No, people are realizing that you're the fucking problem. And a lot of the issues and problems that you have and a lot of the hate that you have garnered for yourself is because of your wickedness and the shit that you do. And, all of your fucking war crimes that you commit, that you have committed and are continuously committing. Your genocide, just like you're basically worse, you're basically just like the fucking Nazis, the people that you claim hated you and destroyed you and, were the worst people on the planet and evil and wicked and vile. Now, hey, now you're surpassing the Nazis, man. And people are looking at you as such.
Horrific and exceptional cruelty. Israel is the new Third Reich, and its flag should look exactly like that. Oh, thank you so much.
What's interesting is that people in the crowd, the rest of the MPs, didn't gasp in shock when they saw that. They instead sat there and they looked at it, and then they seemed to cheer. So people are feeling like, yes, Israel is acting like Nazis. Here's Turkey. Erdogan compares Bibi to Hitler.
Israel's stalling and deception should not be given any more credit. In the absence of the implementation of UN Security Council Resolution number 2735, coercive measures against Israel should be put on the agenda. Israel's behavior has once again demonstrated that it is imperative for the international community to develop a protection mechanism for Palestinian civilians. 70 years ago, just as Hitler was stopped by an alliance of humanity, Netanyahu and his murder network must be stopped by an alliance of humanity.
And see, people are calling this shit out. But what a lot of these people don't know is that these damn tiny taps have been, at the forefront of all of the wickedness. They've been at the forefront of all of these world wars, World War I, World War II. You know, all of the problems of the earth, famines all across the world, man. These devils are at the forefront of all of it because they sit at the head of the table of these different organizations. It's these tiny tops that's the kings of the earth, man. You know, they run policy. They can brought off politicians. They control, entertainment, the media, OnlyFans, the porno industry. They're set at the top of the banking. They even sitting at the top of controlling the president of the United States. The president. You know they sit at the top of policy here in America. You see, and it's through their bloodthirsty, wicked, nastiness that all of these problems of the earth are. They're the reason why they're there. And people are saying now, look, something needs to be done. These people need to be stopped. But one thing these people don't understand is that, the only way these people are going to be stopped is when Yahweh Shai comes back and judges these damn devils, man. But it's beautiful that, hey, the Lord is making this man bare. The Lord has this guy totally exposed, and people are seeing through all the propaganda, through the bullshit. They're not able to hide themselves anymore. They're not able to use their media, their propaganda to, paint themselves in a positive light anymore. People are pinpointing the problem and they're calling it out, man. You see? And it's only going to intensify as we get closer and closer to the end of this thing. But it's beautiful to see. Hey, everybody is turning on these damn devils, man.
We believe that the General Assembly's authority to recommend the use of force, as in the 1950 Resolution on Unity for Peace, should be considered in this process. Israel's stalling and deception should...
Sorry about that. Okay. And by the way, we do dub these into English so that we can all understand them rather than reading subtitles. So Erdogan there comparing him to Hitler, saying, we need to, just as Hitler was stopped 70 years ago by United Front of Humanity, Netanyahu and his network of violence must also be stopped by a global alliance of humanity. This really upset Bibi. Bibi is now putting Turkey in its crosshairs. Turkey is the new Iran, according to Israel. Many inside of the Israeli government have been putting their sights on Turkey. Netanyahu has been tweeting a couple of times about Erdogan. This is one of them saying, Israel under my leadership will continue to fight Iran's terror regime and its proxies, unlike Erdogan, who accommodates them and massacres his own Kurdish citizens. He also tweeted out against Erdogan saying that he's supporting terrorists. So very clearly, Turkey is going to be 2 weeks away from having a nuclear weapon for the next couple of decades.
Yeah, and that's prophecy as well. When you read Ezekiel 38th chapter, it tells you how Turkey is going to eventually side with Russia against Israel, eventually in this Third World War. So, the stage is being set ultimately prophetically for, the demise and the end of the so-called state of Israel. It's all prophetic, man. All these things are happening because they must happen. They needs be to happen, so that, the will of the Heavenly Father can be ultimately accomplished, man. Hey, and we love it, man. We love it. We love it. Let me see if I got something else in here. Yep, it says Obadiah 1:6. How are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee, and there is none understanding in him. You see? And that's what you see. Even a lot of the allies of America and Israel, they're all, having a side eye against these people, because ultimately, they're seeing that, the moves that the wicked are making are ultimately bringing devastation and issues and problems to these allies of whether it's America and Israel, which right now the United States is property owned, lock, stock and barrel, and controlled by those Israelis, man. You see, so it's like the whatever the Israeli does, it basically falls back on America because they're joined at the hip with one another. You see, and hey, everybody is turning on these damn devils, man. And pretty soon they're going to find themselves completely isolated and alienated, eventually, So it's a beautiful thing to see, man. The Lord is doing the number, and the Lord is working on these devils. Let's see.
Your weapon for the next couple of decades here very shortly. And, Turkey is a NATO ally. Israel is not. And yet Israel is, this is the bloodthirst doesn't stop. It just never stops. It will continue to spread. And guess what? You and I are not Jews, and they will come after us next because they believe, Netanyahu and Zionists, not all Jews, of course, believe this. There's many of these Zionists who are against other Jews as well, thinking that they're also the enemy, and they're coming after them also. They're going to separate from them, sort of like the Shias and the Sunnis, right? That's what's going to happen between some Jews and other Jews. They're going to have some other new name for them, and then they're going to be waging war. I mean, what we see with the Sunnis, for example, is they go after the Shias more than they go after anybody else. And I think, we could predict the future with Zionists is that they're going to go after the anti-Zionist Jews, just like the Sunnis go after the Shias. And then they're also going to come after the rest of us, just like the Wahhabis come after the rest of us too. So everybody's in their crosshairs because it's religiously the thinking of we're the chosen ones. This is our land. God promised it to us. The world hates Jews. The world has persecuted Jews. Christians are the ones who committed the Holocaust. That'll be used against the Christians next. So there's no end to this. It's starting with the Arabs because the Arabs are on their land right now. But when the Christians turn, which they have been, they're going to start aiming at the Christians again and say, see, you've all been genocidal maniacs this whole time. None of you are our friends. And now that the Asians are turning against them, what are they going to say about the Asians? Are they going to say, now it's the Buddhists. The Buddhists have always persecuted the Jews.
Yeah, that's what they're going to do because that's what they do. They're the villain victims, man. All right. And they still control media. They still control certain, they control every goddamn thing. So they have everything at their disposal, that they can use to flip it to make it seem as if, they're being hated on. Everybody hates them because they're this and they're that. And we're persecuted. And oh gosh, but that's just not working anymore, man. Because why? People are seeing you for the devils that you truly are. The man of sin is being revealed in a major way. And like I said, you can't put the genie back in the bottle. You can't put the cat back in the bag, man. And each and every day, you devils do shit that further justify why people are looking at you the way that they're looking at you, man. You see, it's too late. The Lord has made you bare. You can't hide yourself anymore, man. You see?
I don't know. Maybe. But here is the South Korean president. This is Jae-myung.
Yeah, let me scoop forward. Let me go forward. But yeah, they show those IDF, those Israeli soldiers kicking an alleged dead person off a building, right? Well, let me just play.
And he says, I need to look into whether this is true. And if so, what measures have been taken? The forced comfort women issue that we are raising is no different from the Jewish massacre or wartime. Is that really what that says? Yeah. Or wartime killings. It's a bad translation. But essentially what he's referring to is he shares this video and he basically says, I need to look into whether or not this is true. This is the video. Viewer discretion be advised. This is a group of IDF soldiers throwing a Palestinian off a roof. Now, I will say this video is from 2004, and after some investigation, it turned out that this was somebody already dead. And so that's how the IDF excused it, is they basically said, well, this was already a dead body. But you see how the IDF treats Palestinians. They don't care. They don't care about, they don't treat them like human beings. And this was, and we don't know how this person died. But this upset, the president of South Korea upset Israel. Israel was all mad about it and said, how dare you essentially put this, well, this is exactly what the Israeli response was. So the foreign ministry of Israel said, for some strange reason, Lee had chosen to dig up a story from 2024 and cite a fake account that falsely presented it as a current event. Mr. President, it's always better to check before posting, the ministry added. What do you mean check before posting what? This was real. This wasn't a fake AI video. This was a real video. You're bitching about it being from 2024 and not from this year. Like, oh, that was us last year.
Yeah, but these devils at the same time tell you never forget the Holocaust. Just shows you the hypocrisy of these damn devils, man. Remember, when you can expose them, when you call them out, oh, you're wrong. Oh, you hate us. Oh, we're the victims. Everybody just can't stand us. Why? Because we're so hated. Oh, we're so persecuted. But people got every right to fucking criticize you and to curse you the fuck out, man. Because you're a bunch of goddamn demons, right? You're wicked as all hell. But, it just can't be called out. You see, these devils try to make it to where, whatever they do, it just has to be accepted. They're God's chosen people. They can't do no wrong. They're totally justified. And no matter what type of wickedness they do, it has to be swept under the rug. It's justified. They're special. They're chosen. But when you call it out, how dare you expose us? You can't do that. But hey, it is what it is, man. Hey, it's just time for your crimes to be brought to the forefront. It's time for your skirt to be uplifted, for your foreskin to be uncovered, and everybody is exposing you people you're just a fucking problem, man. All right?
We're better than that now. We're what, enlightened? We've learned our lesson. We've
let me
groveled.
go forward. It's a little bit more I want to play. I don't want to play all this shit. Yeah, you even got this other Japanese president cussing them out.
With Iran.
Oh, okay.
God damn it.
Wow, that was a good catch.
Shut up.
Having these discussions with Iran, I actually get the feeling that it might be better if some people weren't even involved. I've always wondered who this person is, coming in with the title of son-in-law in such a position.
I like how the dubbing kind of
Not there. Let me see. Let's go to the lady in France. Yeah, this chick right here.
them of crossing the red line.
But the response to an act of aggression must always adhere to the principle of proportionality. This holds true for individuals, and it applies even more strongly to states. And Israel has clearly crossed that limit with a large-scale war that is disproportionately affecting the Palestinian civilian population. And it is this boundary that the Jewish state ultimately crossed, violating humanitarian norms and causing a civilian massacre. A choice that Italy has repeatedly deemed unacceptable, which will lead to our favorable vote on some of the sanctions proposed by the European Commission against Israel. Italy will be there for anyone willing to work on a serious plan for the release of the hostages, a permanent ceasefire, the exclusion of Hamas from any governmental dynamic in Palestine, the progressive withdrawal of Israel from Gaza, the international community's commitment to managing the phase following the ceasefire.
Okay, so you get the point. Let me read some of these comments. It says, the question I have is, why did it take so long? It's shameful for the entire world. Right, because why? It's shameful spewing on the glory of these damn devils, man. And you see the same thing happening to the West and Trump and his Trump administration in America. People are fed up. People are cussing this administration out. People are calling out all of the wickedness, of these governments and of these main two culprits, man. Was the guy called it the access of Epstein? It says their crimes are absolutely disgusting, depressing. Yep, it says when it hurts them economically, you see more world leaders speak out. Right, and this is why you see France, Germany, a lot of these other NATO allies and allies of America, even a lot of the allies of those so-called tiny tops. They're cussing them the hell out, man, because their actions are economically, destroying a lot of these countries with this whole illegal war that they're bringing upon Iran. You see Europe struggling. They're getting ready to be, getting ready to go into chaos, because of what? They're not getting their oil. Their energy sectors are being totally destroyed. And it's going to bring what? Famine, death, destruction, all type of other, ill times to these countries on behalf of these two demons, the United States of Israel and those tiny tops. It's about effing time. Spain was the first country in its parliament to declare Israel to be genocidal. See, look, it's the world cancer. Yeah. They're the fucking problem. But look at this. Just remember, this Israel is not the biblical Israel. See, and a lot of people are coming to that realization as well, that those are not the biblical Israelites. They're Edomites. All right. They're the wicked. They're the devil that the Bible speaks of. And starting with the elders and the apostles and the men of great millstone, we've been at the forefront through the spirit of and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai of exposing that. Look at that. Poland MP got some balls of steel. Love him for that. I've been saying this for 25 years. So glad the world is waking up. Look, there is never going to be peace as long as Israel is allowed to continue its warmongering. See, and that's why I said earlier, the only answer that's going to stop this is Yahweh Shai coming back and judging and making war. You see? What else is in here? Yep, Kim, I agree with you 100%. The Israeli state should be dismantled, and everything you said about it, I agree. Yep. Why is this taking so long for these countries to stop Israel? We are witnessing one of the darkest chapters in human history. Israel is on a free fall to self-destruction. Yep, look, look, the U.S. is just as bad as Israel by being its tool, right? They're hand in glove. These two demons, man. Yep, look at this. Enough is not near enough. Israel should not have a single country supporting them in any way. Look at this. I've thought about the parallels in Nazi and Israel behavior for years now. The irony is incredible. Well, it's not irony because they're both Edomites. They're both of the same lineage. You know, the lineage of evil, man. They're Edomites. Yep. What else? Yep. They hate humanity. Yep. Yep. So people are all cussing these devils out, man. Yep. Look at this. They are stealing houses in Brooklyn already. Be careful, U.S. Oh shit. What it say? The use of phosphorus is a crime against humanity, and this use must be stopped immediately, and the users punished. But they're not going to be punished because they sit at the head of the board of the people that should punish them. So they're always going to find a loophole and a way out to get themselves off the hook. Look, I'm a Republican. I voted for Trump. I'm out. I got a lot of people to listen to MAGA. I'm embarrassed now. Never did I expect this war. Yep. Look at this. As a proud and patriotic American, I stand firmly with Iran. Oh, boy. Yeah, so these people are through, bro. Completely through. This is Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 4. It says, behold, his soul which is lifted up in him is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. Yea, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as deaf, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. See, and this is the nature of Esau, Edom. This is the nature of those tiny tops, because they're all the same people. They all possess that same demonic nature. And right now, hey, they're both on this bloodlust and in this campaign of theft. That whole situation with Iran and Israel is because they want to establish the Greater Israel Project. This is why now they're threatening Turkey. This is why now they're even trying to go after Lebanon. Because why? They're on a campaign of terror to take all of that land because they believe that it's promised to them. And they're going to take it by any means necessary. They're not going to listen to anybody telling them, stop, you're doing too much, you're committing these war crimes, enough is enough. They're going to continue to satisfy that unsatiable nature. It says, verse 6, shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his, and how long to him that ladeth himself with thick clay? And that's what you see happening with Germany, with France, with those Chinese, with the Koreans, with the French. All these nations are taking up this parable against these devils, and they cussing them the hell out, man, and telling them, look, enough is enough, man. You can't be doing this shit. Stop it. They need to be stopped. We need to stop funding these guys. They need to be, stopped. We need to come together as a coalition like we stopped the Nazis, and establish a new coalition to where we can stop the West and these small hats from doing all these genocides, man. Because why? It's destroying the whole global order of things, It says, shall not they rise up suddenly that shall bite thee, and awake that shall vex thee, and thou shalt be for buoys unto them, because thou hast spoiled many nations, and all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee, because of men's blood, and for violence of the land, and of the city, and all that dwell therein. Woe to him that coveteth an evil covetousness to his house, that he may set his nest on high, that he may be delivered from the power of evil. Thou hast consulted shame to thy house by cutting off many people, and hast sinned against thy soul. For the stone shall cry out of the wall, and the beam out of the timber shall answer it. Woe to him that buildeth a town with blood and establisheth a city by iniquity. See, and this is what you see these devils on a rampage are trying to do. You know, even over here in the West, America is hand in hand and assisting these devils to do these very same things. And this is why, look at this, the title called Baby Killers, man. And this is why you see this shameful spewing and people cussing these people the hell out, man. Look at this. I have too turned on Israel. I do not want to support horrible military aggression. We watched the genocide in Gaza and did nothing to stop it. I'm not going to read the rest. Look, it's far too long. There's no redemption in these futile gestures now. The good know who they are and the evil will find out their fate. Yeah, because ultimately they're going to be destroyed and judged, man. But we're just seeing the Lord, you know, putting these guys on Front Street and for them to be called out and condemned before he's going to send back Yahushua to destroy these devils with the brightness of his coming. Look, we are next. See? It's like the whole world is finally waking up and no longer staying silent or compliant with their crimes. See? So, hey, these people were through, man. But, hey, with that, Lord willing, this is edifying. I'm going to give all praise, honor, glory to Yahweh Shem Yahushai. All right, and until the next one, shalom.